Thousands of RVers will make this mistake. Don't be one of them. I'm going to show you how you can winterize your RV yourself for less than $25. Rod here, you could get a scalding hot water bath. Not going to be fun. So if you miss this step, you're going to damage your RV. It's a sad time of year for many RVers. As the temperature starts to get colder, you realize it's time to winterize your RV. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you definitely need to pay attention, especially all you RV newbies out there, that if you live in an area or you're going to be camping in an area that gets below 32 degrees or colder, you need to winterize your RV or face very costly mistakes. And even if you think you're in a warm area in the southern United States, you still need to be prepared for something like this, as thousands of RVers last winter realized in Texas when their RVs completely froze up. You might think you can just pack up your RV and take it to storage and just leave it, but that would be a big mistake. What happens when water freezes inside of your RV if you fail to winterize it? Well, water expands as it freezes, and if there's no place for it to go, it's going to burst, like your water lines in your RV. You have a spaghetti mess of them on the inside of your RV, but what's worse is water inside of your tanks, like your freshwater tank or your black and gray tank. If those still have water in them, those can freeze and crack your tanks. Your water heater can burst as well, again resulting in thousands of dollars worth of damage if you fail to do this. As one RV dealer described winterizing your RV as cheap RV insurance. And stick around till the end, because I'll also be sharing some common RV winterizing mistakes. So you could do a lot of things right and make one mistake and then still cause thousands of dollars worth of damage, so stick around till the end. I'm Tom with EnjoyTheJourney.Life. If you're brand new to our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you catch all of our videos. And in today's video, I'm going to be using some video footage from a couple years ago with our older Columbus RV when we got caught in this crazy snowstorm in Charleston, South Carolina. And I had to do this quick winterizing of the RV. Now, there are small and even big differences between the different types of systems and different types of RVs or brands. So use my video as just like a supplement to your owner's manual that's specific to your type of RV. Now, at what temperature should you winterize your RV? Well, a lot of people say it's around 32 degrees and it's going to be at that temperature for several hours or longer. I've seen some other advice that maybe you can go a little bit less than that, especially if you're still going to be camping in the RV and you've maybe got a heated underbelly, for example. We've pushed it into the mid, maybe sometimes lower 20s, I believe, is about as cold as we've continued to use the RV. But for the purposes of this video, it's going to be about getting your RV ready to store over the winter when you're not going to be using it. Of course, you can still camp in the winter with a winterized RV. You just can't use all of your freshwater systems when you've got it set and ready for the winter. And actually, we made a video on winter RV camping. We'll put that link down below in the description. Do you have a 4-season RV or a camper with a winter package? You might be able to camp at lower temperatures, but you will still have to winterize if you get below a certain temperature. What's that exact temperature? Well, you really need to check with your RV manufacturer on specifically how cold you can let your RV get before you need to winterize the systems. Now this is something you can do yourself. Again, it doesn't take a lot of money or time to do this, but if you're still not sure, you can take it in to an RV dealer and have them do it. It might cost you $100 to $150 just so you have peace of mind and know that it gets done right. Now the first method for winterizing I'm going to talk about is using the pink stuff. Yes, this is safe and non-toxic RV antifreeze solution. I just picked this up at Walmart. It was less than $5 for a gallon. You can also check out our Amazon store with our link down in the description, and we've got some listed in there as well. And depending on the type of RV you have, you're going to need 2 to 3 gallons of this, and that should cover most RVs. Chug, 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 chug. Delicious. Step 1 is to turn off your hot water heater, both the electric and the gas part of your hot water heater. The next step is to go ahead and drain your black tank, and if you have a built-in flush system, go ahead and do that. You want that black tank as clean as possible. You can also use your gray tank to flush out the hose and make sure you get your hoses completely empty. And the next step is to drain your fresh water tank or tanks. We have 2 of them. And try not to get wet. And the next step is to go ahead and make sure your water sources are off. Your water pump is shut off, or the water faucet going to your RV is shut off, because now it's time to remove the water filter. This right here you don't want in there when you put RV antifreeze solution in there, because it will ruin it. And here's a little trick to get RV antifreeze through the system quicker, is when you pull this off, you're going to fill this up with the pink solution so it can go through the system quicker. Now the next step is to drain your hot water heater. Now you want to make sure that it has had several hours to cool off since you shut them off. Otherwise, when you pull the anoid rod here, you could get a scalding hot water bath. Not going to be fun, so don't forget to make sure it's cooled off first. You also want to release the hot water pressure relief valve right here so that it makes sure that all the water drains out completely. Now, this is a good time to check your anoid rod. Like if you look at this old anoid rod right here, this one is definitely shot. So if you pull out one looking like this, you're not going to put this one back in. You're going to want to replace it with a brand new one like this. And if you pull out one that's still got most of this left, it's still safe to reuse that next year. You're going to leave this out of your hot water heater so all the water comes out. You're going to need quite a large socket to make this work. So when you take out your anoid rod out of your water heater, it's a good idea to go ahead and rinse it out with a tool like this. This is called a tank saver, an RV water heater flushing device. But I'll put a link down below again in our Amazon store, but it basically goes right in there and you rinse it all out. It gets that junk that forms in there out of there, and it'll be clean for a year. So the next step is to put your RV into the mode of bypassing the hot water heater. You don't want the RV antifreeze solution to go through the hot water heater. On our Grand Design Momentum, the Nautilus system right here, we've got a Winterize thing, so we can just simply put these in the right position, and now our RV is ready to be winterized. So your RV is going to be set up differently for a hot water bypass than this, most likely, unless you have a Grand Design RV. So make sure you consult your manual so you do this properly, because again, you don't want the RV antifreeze solution to be going through the hot water tank. This might be another RV myth, but there's mixed advice out there on whether you should put this solution in your RV freshwater tank. Now that's the way I've learned, because this is non-toxic and you're going to end up flushing this out in the springtime or whenever you unwinterize your RV. So what do you guys think? You know, should you use this in the freshwater tank or not? Let us know down in the comments. Now, if you don't want to put this in your freshwater tank, look for a bypass that goes around that. And there's actually several solutions. We'll put a link to one of them in our Amazon store, where you can like use an optional pump to get RV antifreeze throughout your system, but to keep it out of your fresh tank. You'll still need to completely empty your freshwater tank by opening up the drain below that and making sure all of that water comes out. But I'm going to continue with the way I learned how to do this. And so you're again going to close all of your valves and the low points on your RV, but make sure all of the fresh water is drained out. Even if it's been dripping a little bit, leave it sit for a while so it all comes out. Close them. And then what I like to do, or what I have done in the past, is put a couple gallons of this right into your freshwater tank. And you can use the built-in pump like we have on the Nautilus system. If you don't have that, you can use an external pump, or you can use something like this to get it into your freshwater tank, whatever particular system you've got. Now we're going to turn on the water pump. I'm going to turn on the water pump right there. Then you want to go through every faucet and sink in your RV and turn both sides, the hot and the cold water, on until you get the pink stuff coming through. Then you want to run enough into each sink where you fill the P-trap. And if you're not sure, you can always come in and add a little bit extra as well. Maybe a couple of cups to make sure there's plenty in there. If you have a washing machine, you need to make sure it gets winterized as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do is put it on like a manual rinse mode, and to bring in the antifreeze from your RV freshwater tank, at least till you start seeing some pink coming inside. At that point, you can go ahead and just add, like, I would say a good amount, maybe a quarter of a gallon in here. And after adding that, I'll put it on our C section right here, which is the manual drain. And now that's flushing that antifreeze out through the other end of the system. That way we make sure that all the way to the this goes to a black water tank, actually, that goes in there, and it's all winterized. And you'd have to do something similar if you have a dishwasher, maybe an ice maker. You got to think of everywhere there could be some water. You'll also go to each toilet that you have. We have 2 of them, and pour several cups of the solution into your toilet, and then flush it down into your black tanks. Then put a couple more cups and just leave that sitting in your toilet. That way you have enough solution in your black tanks. If you're not sure if you put enough in your gray tank or gray tanks, you can pour a little extra into each sink. You want to make sure that if you've got any residual water in those tanks, that you have enough of the pink stuff to dilute that water down so it won't freeze. So that's what you would do if you're using the RV antifreeze solution. Now, another way that you can winterize your RV is to use compressed air. And we have had that done before to our older RV, the Columbus RV, and that was done at a dealership. But if you have an air compressor and something called a blowout valve, and we'll put a link down below in our Amazon store for that. It's only a couple of dollars, but that gets connected to your water connection, and you can actually blow out your water system. Again, you have to drain all the water out, open up all your low points, and let that run and blow it all out. I just don't think that it gets everything though. Like, there's still going to be water around your water pump, and I don't know about like the washing machine and all of these other areas if it really gets all of that. Plus, you're still going to have to pour some RV antifreeze into your P-traps if you use compressed air. I'm not going to spend really any time talking about it because I really think you need to use the RV antifreeze solution. If you have a favorite though, comment down below what your preferred way of winterizing your RV is. And we see this in Facebook groups and RV forums all the time. People say, we don't winterize, we have a heated garage for our RV. So if you're lucky enough to have a heated garage or heated storage, then you obviously don't have to worry about winterizing. If you miss this step, you're going to damage your RV. So common RV winterizing mistakes is not making sure every water source on your RV has had the solution go through. Like, this is the outside faucet. It's very easy to forget this, but you need to run the solution all the way through here. This is the most exposed connection. Again, if you have a washing machine, a dishwasher, maybe an ice maker, any additional appliance that uses water, you're going to want to make sure that there's RV antifreeze going up to it and then out into your tank, so the lines are completely winterized. Plus, as you can see what happened in Charleston a few years ago with that snowstorm, you don't want to leave your slides out. Look at all this snow that built up on top of the slide toppers. Now, as unpredictable as the weather is, and again, that freak storm in Texas last year that caught so many people off guard, I would say even if you're going to be in southern states like we are in Florida right now, keep a couple or 3 gallons of this stuff on you all the time, because you just never know when you might need it. And if all of a sudden the weather is going to get cold and you think you're going to just pick some up at the store, they might be sold out. So I would plan on keeping this around even if you don't think you're going to be somewhere where it's cold. Now, a couple other tips for winter RV storage. Your refrigerator needs to be turned off, and you're going to empty all of the contents and block open the doors here so it doesn't mold over the winter. Don't neglect your RV batteries. It's best to fully charge them and bring them inside where it won't get too cold and not too hot. If your RV is not going to be stored underneath the sheltered area, then consider investing in a quality RV cover and maybe some tire covers as well, because the sun, the weather, the elements are not good to the outside of your RV. Did I miss any tips on winterizing your RV freshwater systems? Make sure you comment down below so everyone can learn from this video. Share this with your RV friends, especially if they're newbies, so they don't make this mistake and forget to do it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're brand new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that little bell, that way you get notified of all of our videos like this one. And for now, remember to enjoy your journey. So long, guys. And for now, don't make me laugh. To prove to you guys that this is safe and not toxic, I'm gonna go ahead and drink some right now. There, just like that. Looks tasty, doesn't it? No, I wouldn't want to drink it. It's supposed to be safe. But any additional appliances that require water, you're going to want to make sure you've got... Is that a mosquito?
Yep, it was. You got him though.
Now, a couple other tips for winter RV storage. Your refrigerator needs to be turned off, and your It should go off when you hit the off button, right? I guess that's an outtake. Let's try this again.
Is that everything?
Did I turn the fridge back on? Nope. We're making a winterizing video for RVs, and it's Florida and it's hot.
Head for the sun, follow your footsteps, edge of the world, right to your doorstep, home, anywhere you wanna go, beyond the stars.